Alright, so Jim Carrey and Zoe Kravitz commented on the Will Smith situation, and some people were not happy with what they had to say. So they went to Twitter to try to cancel these two, and they're digging up whatever dirt they could find on them, and they found some pretty good stuff. And you know what? I'm here for it. I love seeing chaos in Hollywood. People are finally realizing how hypocritical and out of touch these people are. These Hollywood elites, they're basically responsible for cancel culture because in the past, they've just had such a hard time condemning bad behavior. Harvey Weinstein was in the industry for 25 to 30 years or something like that. And people loved him. Everyone supported him. I think he won some Oscars. And I think most people in Hollywood knew what he was up to, and nobody was talking about it. And then also there's Roman Polanski, who obviously did some sick shit, and people still supported him. People still worked with him. He won an Oscar after he did this stuff too. People gave this guy an award after they knew he sexually assaulted a child. So these people just have no standards at all. And it seems like they don't really care about these issues until they absolutely have to care, or if they just want to try to virtue signal. But for the most part, these people only care about themselves, and they're going to do whatever they can to keep their career alive. So when it comes to Jim Carrey and Zoe Kravitz getting canceled on Twitter, I honestly really don't even care at this point. This is the culture that these Hollywood elites created. So when it comes for them, I don't really care that much because they're basically asking for it. And with Ethan Klein, it's the same thing. I talk about him all the time, and I'm surprised Twitter didn't try to cancel him because he was really going after Will, and there's plenty of dirt you could dig up on him. And it's funny because I actually agree with a lot of what these people have to say about the situation, the Will Smith situation. I agree with Jim Carrey and Zoe Kravitz. I am definitely on Chris Rock's side. I think Will Smith was way out of line, and that was just really pathetic. And I do like what Jim Carrey had to say about it. But the problem is, he really doesn't have any right to talk because he's done a bunch of fucked up shit in the past. And of course, people are going to use that against him. And this is pretty much the whole problem with Hollywood right now because most of these people have been letting a lot of this stuff slide, a lot of messed up shit throughout the years. Like I said, with Harvey Weinstein and Roman Polanski, those are the more extreme examples. But also, obviously, most celebrities have done something in their career that is really offensive. And people are always going to hold that over their heads. So obviously, when something like this Will Smith incident happens, when Will Smith goes back to his seat, they can't just throw him out of the place, because if they did, do you know how bad that would look for them? These people have given Oscars to a child rapist, and now they're throwing a black guy out for hitting another black guy. That would be a terrible look. So when it comes to these big time people in Hollywood chiming in saying, oh, you can't do that, that's wrong, you can't hit somebody, he should have been thrown out, you shouldn't have clapped for him. It's funny, I agree with all that stuff, but coming from these Hollywood people, they just sound like idiots. It's almost like it's too late for them to try to act all proper and act like they don't put up with this kind of stuff. This Will Smith incident just broke Hollywood because this is almost too perfect what happened here, because people in Hollywood have been getting away with a lot for a long time, and it just seemed like nobody really cared to call out inappropriate behavior or expose anybody. And then once cancel culture happened, that all completely changed. Everyone basically did a 180, and now everyone's looking to call people out for doing things wrong, and everyone's trying to virtue signal, and everyone's trying to be politically correct. And it just seemed like this change happened way too quickly, which obviously a change needed to be made. People obviously needed to expose this stuff and change how they acted and everything. But people went from almost not caring at all to way over the top virtue signaling. So this Will Smith incident is so perfect because over the past 7 years, all these celebrities, they've been talking about how we need to be more sensitive and how we need more diversity and, stuff that I agree with, obviously. But it's just the fact that these people 10, 20 years ago, none of this, nobody's talking about this shit. And now today, it's in your face with everything. So when Will Smith walks up stage and hits a guy for telling a joke, what's the move? What's the move for these people in Hollywood? Everyone's usually trying to outdo each other, trying to be the most progressive, trying to virtue signal the most. So are they going to criticize a black guy at the Oscars where it's usually dominated by white people, and 20 years ago they're giving awards to a white guy who raped a child and a white guy that was sexually assaulting actresses? And I usually don't like to bring race into things, but these are just the optics of it. This is how a lot of people are looking at it. And this is kind of how Hollywood taught us to look at these things. So coming out against Will Smith and giving your opinion on this, it could be a bad move for some of these celebrities. Like, let's take a look at Jim Carrey. He said that Will Smith should have been sued. He said they should have thrown him out. He said Hollywood's spineless for sitting there and clapping for him. And I pretty much agree with all this stuff. But this is Hollywood for you. Of course they're spineless. These people are the most delusional, out of touch, egotistical people on earth. So after Jim Carrey gave his opinion, obviously people were upset, so they took to Twitter and tried to cancel him. And I generally don't like cancel culture, but at this point, these people are basically asking for it. Like, you created this monster, so you have to deal with it. So here's one post I saw going around. This person said, "Damn, remember that award show where Jim Carrey, the 45-year-old man, stuck his tongue down a 20-year-old woman's throat while she tried to push him off? The internet remembers." See, this guy really doesn't have a right to criticize Will Smith if he's doing shit like this. And apparently at another award show, he tried to make out Will Smith too or something like that. It's crazy. You can't make this shit up. Like, if you knew you're doing this shit, you should probably keep your mouth shut about the Will Smith stuff. Like, I'm sure once Jim Carrey came out, gave his opinion, everyone that's pro Will Smith was like, all right, let's go find some dirt on this guy. Like, obviously there's some there because he's some famous dude in Hollywood. So I got another tweet. This person said, "Hey, remember when Jim Carrey used to tweet videos of autistic children having meltdowns without the consent of them or their families to convince people not to get vaccinated?" I have no idea if this is true. I did not know Jim Carrey was anti-vax. Like, I thought he'd be very pro-vax, but I could be wrong. So I got another tweet that says, "I love Jim Carrey, but like, there's a whole documentary about him being a menace on set. Can't draw these lines, buddy." And here's one other tweet, and this is pretty much exactly what I was saying before, and this is exactly how people are going to look at this situation. This person said, "Jim Carrey saying the standing ovations for Will is what makes Hollywood spineless, and not the white men who have continued to be celebrated despite the fact of committing sexual violence against women." So yeah, this is going to be a tough issue to navigate because, like I said, people have been doing fucked up shit in Hollywood for years, and only up until recently people have started to care. So if you're a famous actor that's been around for a while, there's really nothing you could say about this Will Smith stuff because these Will Smith fans will expose you. Like, here's just one more tweet. This person said, "I must admit, I did not know Jim Carrey was such a terrible person until everyone exposed his ass today. Holy shit." Alright, so now I want to talk about Zoe Kravitz getting canceled because this is pretty funny as well. So I think this is the only thing that she said about the situation. It was from this Instagram post where she said, "Here's a picture of my dress at the party after the award show, where we are apparently screaming profanities and assaulting people on stage now." So Will Smith fans were not too happy about this comment she made. So of course they took to Twitter and they exposed her. And they got something pretty good here. Somebody found these quotes from her from some article, I think, where she apparently said, "There were moments that I was hanging out with Jaden," who she's referring to Will Smith's son, of course, because this shit is just too perfect. And she said, "There were moments that I was hanging out with Jaden and thinking, I can't believe you're 14. I have to check myself, like what I say to you." And then she said, "He has so much personality and so much swag. He is so much cooler than I am, and he's so handsome. I was always like, when you're older, you know, we'll hang out. Nope, that's inappropriate. You're 14. And if she said this stuff, why the hell would she comment on the Will Smith incident with Chris Rock? Like, of course people are going to bring this up, and I guess there is a possibility of this being fake. I don't know for sure, but if this is real, oh god, this is not a good look. And it didn't end here. People started calling her out because she's friends with this fashion designer, Alexander Wang, who apparently was accused of sexual assault or something. And here's a tweet that did pretty well. Someone said, "I guess Zoe Kravitz prefers when people get assaulted backstage, like her friend Alexander Wang does." So I don't even really know who that person is, and I don't know how serious these allegations are, but this is how Hollywood is. Of course these people are friends with bad people, and they're massive hypocrites. Like, these people have no consistency. So here's a few other tweets. This person said, "Zoe Kravitz being friends with a literal abuser, yet saying Will Smith was wrong is hilarious. Industry in a nutshell." And then here's another one. "Nothing will ever beat how quickly the internet will switch up on someone. Yesterday, Zoe Kravitz was the sexiest woman ever, and today she has to beat predator allegations." And here's just one more. Somebody said, "Zoe Kravitz should have kept quiet. Now she's being out as a predator, previously being in a relationship with a domestic abuser and being besties with a sexual predator. What a time to be alive. Pots calling kettles, logs and eyes. Yeah, this shit is just wild because this topic is so divisive. Like Zoe posts one Instagram post saying that people were assaulted on stage or whatever, and it leads to her being outed as like a possible predator or something, and her friend that she hangs out with apparently is a sexual abuser, and like they're taking down everyone. Like, this is crazy. All right, so that's about it for this video. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit the like button, leave me a comment, and then hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you at the next video.